Fabulous. Now we are ready to kind of begin the other side of each of these. Okay, so the next step is going to be, we've got two different kinds. We've got this one that has an up, down, and close like that. And then we've got these ones, so that opens, and then this part opens, and then the whole thing opens. Okay, so choose two of your pages, and we'll do this one first. So it's got 3 parts to it. Okay, 2 pieces that measure 6.5 by 4, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 6.5 inch side. So 6.5, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch. So 2 of those, and then you're going to need 4 pieces that are 5 7/8 by 5. Now I had it originally at 6 by 5, but it was just a little bit, it didn't quite fold properly. So just a hair less than 6, so 5 7/8 by 5. And you're going to be scoring it again at 1/2 on the 5 inch side. So you put it in with the 5 inch side, with the 5 inch side at the top of your scoreboard, and you're going to measure, or you're going to score at 1/2. Okay, so you need 4 of those. Okay, so 5 inch side is along there, the 5 inch side is along the top. I'm going to score at 1/2. Okay, so 4 of those, 5 7/8 by 5, and then the 2 that are 6.5 by 4, I'm going to put it into your scoreboard along the 6 inch side, or 6.5 inch side, and score at 1/2 right here. Okay, so once you've got all of those scored, fold all your score lines and burnish. Okay, and then so continue scoring, or so continue to burnish all those fold lines, and then we're going to, guess what? We're going to add some score tape along there. Okay, so we'll do that, fold everything, and apply score tape, and we will be back. Okay, so you should have your score tape on each of them, and then as always, just kind of miter the corners for the sake of you not having to watch me do it. I've already done it with all the rest of them. So then you're going to take 2 of your pages. I personally used the 2 that have this extra flap here. I'm going to do this part on the back of those 2. Okay, so get those 2 pages out. Now what you're going to do is make sure that you've flipped it over. You haven't, so your opening right now is on the left side. Okay, so it's right here. You're going to flip it over so that the opening will be right here. Okay, and then we're going to adhere 1 of the, what is it, 5 7/8 by, what did I say? 5 7/8 by 5. You're going to put 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom. Make sure you line up both pieces, and the reason I did it 5 7/8 is that you have just a smidge of room over on this side, because this is where you're going to have your other flap, and this way everything closes up nicely. Okay, so now your longer flap, which measures the one that was 6.5 by 4, so you're going to take it and Again, I just eyeball it. If you prefer to measure, you can. And just kind of put it somewhere in the center-ish. Alright, so now you've got an up, a down, and a close, and we'll be adding magnets to that. So there's one, and then do the same thing. You've got the same thing on this one, so you've flipped it over. One at the top. Ooh, a little off on that one. And on the bottom. And then open them up. And one opening to the side. All right. Okay, so there's 2 of your 4 pages pretty much done. And set those aside, and now we will be working on the other 2. So the other 2 have the opening like that with this extra part here. Okay, so you will now need, what do we got here? Okay, so, of course I didn't write my measurements down. Why would I do that? That's just silly talk. Oh, I did write them down. Ha! Okay, so you'll need 2 pieces that are 6 inches by 12 inches. And you're going to score it at 3.5 and 8. Okay, so, and this is along the 12-inch side. So put it into your scoring board like this, and I guess that would be like that. So 3.5, score at 3.5, and score at 8. Okay, and then you're going to fold it together like that. So 2 of those. Okay, so it looks like that. And then you will need 2 pieces that measure 5 by 6 and scored at 1/2 inch along the 5-inch side. Okay, so 2 of those. So 5 by 6, 6 by 5, a score at 1/2 inch on the shorter side, and then 2 at 6 by 12 and score at 3.5 and 8. Okay, so get those 2 pieces. And then you will also need 2 hinges again, and these will be 1 inch by 6 inch, I believe. Let me just double check that. 1 inch by just shy, so 5 7/8, just shy of 6. Is this one 6? Just shy of 6. Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to score it down the center. So score it down the center and put score tape on each side like we've been doing, and then you're going to miter the corners. You guys got this all by now. You guys are pros. Okay, so that 1 inch hinge, got your piece and it opens like that and it opens like that, or you could do it the opposite and it opens like that and it opens like that. Either way, so you're going to put it on the edge. So you've got your other 2 pages. Okay, so flip it over, so you've got the opening that's going to go into your hinge mechanism on this side. So you've attached your hinge here, and it's going to now attach to the edge of the page here. Okay, did that make sense? So it's going to open and open, and then it will also open like that because it'll be attached to the page. I hope I'm probably over explaining this. You guys are probably all sitting there being like, yeah, we got it, okay, you're over explaining. but I just want to make sure. Just want to make sure. Okay, so do that to each of them. Fold on your score lines and burnish. And then attach your hinge. And attach the hinge to the page. Or attach the whole part, not just the hinge. Attach it with the hinge. Okay, so now you've got that part. And now this, your other two pieces you cut out, your 5x6. So score on the half, fold, burn. Oh, I haven't scored this one. So score at a 1/2 inch. And fold. And burnish. Burnish. Apply your score tape. Miter the corners. Sorry, mitering the corners off camera there. You got that part though. And then attach this to the opposite side of where you just attached that other tri-fold part. Okay, so do that on each of those two pages. So, alright, so you've got this part that opens like that, and then you've got this part that opens like that. Alright, so you are now officially done with the assembly of the pages. So we will now, I'm just going to clean up my area here, and then we will come back and add your magnets, and then we'll start working on the hinge mechanism and the cover. Alright, so I'm going to get my area cleaned up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we've got our pages assembled, and now we're going to add some magnets. Now in my album I have swing tabs on the first part. So right here is where I would have a swing tab. It's not necessary, you don't have to have a swing tab. I also have magnets holding it all, so you don't necessarily need the swing tab. I just like the look of it. So that is completely optional and up to you. So for this page where you have this extra flap here, we're going to, I use the tiny little, I don't know if you can see them, these little, tiny little niobium, however you pronounce it, magnets, really, really thin little disc magnets. They're, I believe, 8 millimeters by 1 millimeter, something like that, or 2 millimeters, 8 millimeter by 2 millimeters. So what you're going to do is take just a little bit of score tape and adhere it to the magnet and stick it down. Make sure you have enough space on the side here, because your pattern paper is going to be here, so you don't want your pattern paper to be right on the edge of the magnet. So make sure you've got enough room here that your pattern paper will fully cover that magnet. And then take another little piece of score tape and attach it. So you've got two magnets stuck together here. So put your score tape on, and I'm having serious troubles getting score tape off these magnets today. There we go. Take the backing off the score tape and close it up. And now you've got a magnet on either side there. Okay, and then we're also going to put one on this flap. So take another 2 magnets. I buy them as like, I usually get like 500 at a time because I really love my magnets. And it's just something satisfying about the opening and closing of something with a magnet. So come on, it's stuck to my nail. Okay, there we go. So that's 2 together, and then attach some more score tape to the back. And there you go. Got 2 there. And then I also do it on this flap. And again, you don't have to have magnets on each of these. This is totally personal preference. You could use different closures. You know, there's the hairband closure, there's the swing tabs, there's what do you call it? Where you wind the string around 2 brads, almost like that old school envelope, mail envelope closure. So many different kinds. It's totally a personal thing. I love magnets, so I put a lot of magnets in my work. Take the backing off, and there you go. And now this is one of the pages that is going to be a pocket, so you won't need magnets to close that because it's going to be closed. So that's that half. And then on this half, I'm going to put a magnet here. So we've got, again, grab 2 magnets together. Take the backing off the score tape. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. And kind of adhere it somewhere, at least a 1/2 inch from the edge. And take your backing off. Goodness, there we go. Okay, and close that up. So you've got a magnet there and there. And now here you could put magnets, you don't have to. What I'm going to do is, so we've got a magnet here, so I'm going to take a single magnet. So take a single magnet, let it find its counterpart on this side. So you've got it on this side, just let it attach. And then I'm going to open this flap up, and I'm going to adhere it to the base of the page. So what that does is when these are closed, it all magnets together nicely. So it can go through a couple layers of paper. Okay, so that's that page. And so you've got 2 of those, so do them the same way. And then you've got your second page. So on this one, oh, it's a broken magnet. Doesn't happen very often. Okay, so take 2 together. Remove the backing of the score tape, which is easier said than done, and stick her down. Apply some more score tape to the back. Oops. Okay, there we go. That's one, and then I'm also going to do a magnet here. There we go. I did have very pretty nails, but after taking off all that score tape and fighting with it, I've kind of destroyed this one. All right, and then on the back, we're just going to put a magnet attaching these two here. And since this one is just a flap, we're also going to put a magnet here, and that's the last one. Well, you'd have to do the other two pages. I'm just showing you one of each page so you don't have to sit through me struggling with score tape for the next 10 minutes. Oh, and I forgot, since we have a magnet already on this side, you don't even need to put two. You can just attach, let the magnet like attach to its counterpart. The score tape is on the outside there, and then just close it up, and that way you're saving yourself one magnet. Hope that made sense. Alright, so put all your magnets on, and now we can do the binding system. So I kind of alternate. I do both the Hidden Hinge binding system from Kathy Orta King, and I also do the Stack the Deck binding system by Laura Dennison. So I like them both. I use them both. Today I'm using the Hidden Hinge binding system. So it is a piece of cardstock that measures 6.5 by 6, so 6.5 by 6, and what you're going to do is you're just going to score every ½ inch. So you have it, the 6.5 inch side is going to be at the top of your scoreboard, and just score every ½ inch, okay? And then what you're going to do, so the you're going to have ½ inch gussets. So what you're going to do is how do I explain this? The easiest way is to just think of the fact that you need 4 hinges, 4 things that your pages are going to stick onto. So this is one. And then you have a ½ inch space, and then you need to create another one of those hinges. So you're kind of making an accordion of the folds. I don't know. Accordioning isn't a word. So there's one, and then you've got a ½ inch gusset in. I hope you can see a ½ inch gusset in between. And there's your second one that the page is going to fit over. Then you've got a ½ inch, and then you're creating a third one. So just fold them so that you've got 4 pieces sticking up that will be your hinges that your pages will go onto. Okay, and then you've got ½ inch in between. So you need to put score tape on, you need to, each one of these little mountains that you've created, you need to attach it together. Okay, so apply some score tape. I've already done that. Okay, so now this hinge is attached. So you've got 2 of the ½ inch strips stuck together. And you're going to do that for all 4 of them. Okay, so you've got a ½ inch on the edge. You've got 2 of the ½ inch pieces that you scored stuck together. You've got a ½ inch gusset, 2 more of the ½ inches stuck together, ½ inch gusset, and then 2 more stuck together. Alright, so this is what you're going to end up with. Okay, so you've got 4 pieces that your pages are going to sit onto. Okay, and then gussets in between. If I've confused you through my cough medicine haze, you can just go to Kathy Orta King and follow hers. There's many people who have shown a tutorial on this. So on the back, you're going to need to put score tape on, there'll be 5 half-inch sections, so put score tape on all of those because that is what's going to be stuck to the spine of your book. Okay, so now you're going to want to put score tape or glue on each one of the hinges. I prefer glue, so I'm going to just miter all my edges for now. So like we've done for everything else, just gonna cut a little snippet off the edge at an angle of each of these. It just helps that the pages slide in a little easier. Okay, so now we've got each one of those. It's really hard to see, but each one of those is kind of at an angle. There we go. Okay, so now we can set this aside for now and we will work on the cover. So for the cover, you'll need 3 pieces of medium to heavyweight chipboard, whatever you prefer. The spine is going to be 2.5 by 6.5, and then you'll need 2 pieces that are 6.5 by 6.5, I believe. Yeah, 6.5 by 6.5. Okay, so 2, 6.5, 6.5, 2, or 1 at 2.5 and 6.5. So cut those out, and then we will start to cover them. So you're going to need a couple pieces of cardstock. Okay, so if you're using 8.5 by 11 cardstock, then the height is already perfect, so you don't need to do anything. But you will need to attach 2 pieces together so that you have enough to cover the whole thing. So I'm just going to use a couple pieces of score tape and attach these together. Because you basically want about 1 inch all the way around your chipboard. Okay, so attach those together. Okay, and now lay out your chipboard. And so you want about 1 inch on either end, so you can cut off like 3 inches from this. So I'm just gonna chop off 3 inches. And I'm going to use wet glue. You can use score tape if you prefer. I like wet glue because it gives you a chance to move things around just slightly if you need to. Okay, so just kind of eyeball it, leaving about 1 inch on the top, the bottom, and the side. And then Put some glue on your spine piece. Oops. And now you want to leave a little gap so that your pages, like your book, has room to fold. So I just eyeball it. Some people put a ruler in between to make sure and just kind of butt it up against the ruler, or another piece of chipboard, whatever you prefer. As long as it's about an eighth of an inch of space. All right, push that down. All right, and again, I like to miter the corners, so cut a little bit off the corner so it's folds nicer. Okay, and now I like to kind of bend, like kind of help my folds out a little bit even before I put my glue on. So just kind of encourage them a little, talk nicely to them. And then again, you can use score tape or glue, whatever you prefer. Sorry, was my big head in the way there? I'm not sure. Okay, and then encourage it, and then kind of just pull it. And now for the wet glue, you're going to have to kind of hold it down a little bit because it dries a lot slower than if you were using score tape. Score tape, it would already be completely adhered, but you have to kind of like caress it. So do the same for all four sides. And once it's completely dry, I like to kind of put my ruler here and just kind of slowly encourage it to bend, but it's not quite dry yet, so I'll wait a little bit longer before it's actually, otherwise it won't work. You have to wait till it's completely dry and then kind of encourage it to bend. Do the sides. Oh, and with the corners, just so you don't get this little pointy bit, I tend to just use my scissors, just kind of, before you fold it in, just kind of push that little pointy edge in a little bit. If anyone has any questions or comments about anything that I'm doing, feel free to message me. I'm always up for, you know, ideas, and everyone does things differently, and I've only been doing this kind of scrapbooking, like mini albums, etc., for a couple years, so I am by no means an expert, but I absolutely love doing it, and hope that someone is getting some inspiration from what I'm doing. That's always a very joyful thing, to know that someone is loving what you do as much as you do and getting inspired by it. Alright, so make sure that's all dry and everything, and then you'll want to, like I said, kind of like encourage it to fold up on both sides here. There we go. Alright, and now you're going to want to cover this part with black paper. I'm going to wait just a little bit until this is completely dry so it doesn't, I'm going to keep working it and making sure that it's really down there. It's really important that it's dry and down there so that you don't get any bubbles in your paper. Okay, so keep working that. Make sure you're, if you're using wet adhesive, make sure it's dry, and then we'll come back, and we'll come back and we will add paper on here, and then the binding system, and then we'll put the pages in. Alright. Alright, so now I've taken 2 pieces of black cardstock at 8.5 by 6 1/4. And I am just simply covering the entire inside surface of your book, of the cover. So, just gluing her down. Again, you can use double-sided tape, score tape, red line tape, if you prefer. I find that the, what is it called? The ATG tape isn't quite strong enough. I use that primarily for adding my patterned paper to everything, but anything that is structural and really needs some support and really needs to stick, I will use either wet glue or the double-sided tape. So yeah, just try and get it as even as possible. Really smooth it out. I know a lot of people use a brayer, like a roller, for this part, just to make sure, especially if you're using wet glue, to make sure you don't have any bubbles or anything like that. I don't have a brayer right now. I sometimes use like an old credit card, and just to make sure that there's no bubbles. So really, really work it. And then when it is completely dry, then we'll do the same thing and we'll start bringing it up into the crease. Right now I think it's still too, yeah, it's still a little wet because you'll get a bubble if it's not completely dry. You want to make sure that it's really dry before you start bending it. Yeah, this side will still be too wet. So I will come back in just a moment and we will do that and put the hinge system on and go from there. Okay, so the glue is all dry and we've bent our covers up and it's looking like a cover. And now we are just going to add our hinge piece, which should fit pretty much exactly in the spine. Now, for some reason, mine is just a smidgen too wide, so I'm just going to trim the tiniest little bit off of there, if I can get it in there. Okay. So, it should fit right into your spine there. So remove your score tape. It looks like it might just be a smidge. I'm going to trim the tiniest bit off the other side as well, I think. Just a hair. Okay, so remove your score tape. Or again, you could use wet glue for this part as well, whatever you prefer. Alright. And line it up as best you can. And then really burnish it down with your fingers, go into in between the gussets and really get it in there. All right, there you go. So now the way the pages will go in, so you've got your opening right here, okay? So all you need to do is add a little either score tape again or a little bit of wet glue, that wet adhesive, to either side of your hinge, and then you just slip the page onto the hinge. Okay, so it would just sit right in the hinge there. Normally I would do all of my pattern paper first and get all that done and then put it onto the hinge. I hadn't planned on doing that in this tutorial because I don't have the same papers that I used in either one of the albums that this is fashioned after. If you would like me to do that part, if you'd like me to do the whole thing with the pattern paper and all the swing tabs, etc., etc., message me or leave a comment in the comment section below. But otherwise, there's your album. You've got your pages. All you have to do is put your pattern paper on and then put some glue on the hinges and insert your page down onto the hinge and you are good to go. So that is the tutorial. I hope that you gained some information and were inspired by it. And if you have any comments, questions, yep, let me know and I will try to answer them all. And thanks for tuning in, and hopefully I will have some more stuff to show you very soon. Alright, bye, thank you. Meow.